I wanted to get a video of these blue dicks before the deer nipped off all of the flowers, and I'm one day too late for about half of the patch here. You can see some California melic grass there in the back. On the other side of our path, which is a deer highway, this used to be probably about 50 blue dicks blossoms here, and now they're been very surgically nipped off by the deer. These blue dicks, I've actually planted quite a few of them around the property. It's a bit of a exercise in survival of the fittest. In some places they have thrived, and here, for example, I think they're basically spreading by cormlets rather than by seed, and I wouldn't be surprised if the gophers move them around a little bit. But they thrive in this place, and perhaps it gets ample morning sun and is pretty sheltered from afternoon heat, and the drainage here is pretty good as well. So they're happy here. Other places they've held their own, and in the garden, and in other places they've disappeared completely. Take them up close. There we go. This patch of hummingbird sage started from just one plant quite a while ago. It has never been watered, but I do pull a lot of, but it propagates vegetatively pretty easily. It sends out runners, even when the ground is, well, it probably does it during the winter when the ground is a lot moister. But anyway, the place to really salvage these, or to rescue them, is the term I use, is in the paths. So you can see that there's quite a few of them in the path. So I'll put a sprinkler out here just to loosen up the soil, dig them up, water them in a pot during the summer, and then transplant them next winter. So right along here is a place where quite a few things volunteer from seed. These open paths seem to provide just kind of the perfect bed for at least some things to throw seedlings. So here we have a foothill penstemon, and I know that right underneath this is just a nursery for seedlings. So you can see some there. I think if I were to lift this up, there's quite a few additional ones. So again, I'll just put a sprinkler on this, loosen up the soil, and there's probably about 10, 12 seedlings in there, and put them in pots, and then they'll grow reasonably during the summer, and then in dappled shade is where I have all my propagation going on, and then plant them out in October, November. Well, my blue dicks garden was pretty short-lived. I took a video of all of the blossoms just, I think, about 2 days ago. Mentioned something about the fact that the deer had not discovered them, but now they have. And they have basically bitten off every bloom. I see one. Such the nature of living where you have to share the space with some of the animals around here. That's fine. So I introduced silverbush lupin to this meadow a number of years back, and it has spread. There's another one. There are a few additional ones down there. And in this soil, which is pretty well drained, they're long-lived. In fact, I've never lost one in this meadow, so I think these are probably that one's probably about 10 years old. And this year it has thrown a lot of volunteers, and they're all about a foot high. There's another one, a couple down here. There's a few up there. There's another one. So, and there are a couple of others scattered around. I'm wondering how they get uphill. I think these seed pods must kind of spring open and fling the seeds out. It's not a really prominent effect, I don't think, but I definitely think it occurs. So it helps distribute the seeds away from the parent plant. Anyway, next winter, I wouldn't be surprised if all those bloom, and this will be kind of an interesting meadow, permanent feature of it. If they go on multiplying like this, I'll have to start weeding them. So I have quite a bit of ceanothus in the garden, a lot of specimens, and also some that are clumped. I mean, several individuals of the same type. And I have never had a volunteer, I think, until now. I just noticed this while I was pulling some weeds out of the path. Let me go show you what it is. Anyway, this looks like a ceanothus seedling. It's just like the parent plant, I'm guessing. So I'm going to rescue that and see what happens to it next year. Hopefully it actually blooms perhaps next winter, and then it will reveal itself actually as a ceanothus. Here in the shade of our redwood tree, we get quite a few things volunteering, specifically coast live oak. It's everywhere. Bay trees. And I guess even redwood itself. There's a volunteer redwood. Okay, here we have some Pacific Sanicle. That showed up just on its own about 4 or 5 years ago. Found a place that it liked in our garden, right here, where it gets a little bit of eastern sun exposure, but then shaded in the afternoon. And if it does find a place that it likes in your garden, it can reseed pretty heavily. In fact, I'll weed Pacific Sanicle. We have plenty of it, but a little piece of wild California. Okay, we're in the shade of an old Toyon. If I showed you the whole shrub, it would be pretty backlit. But anyway, there are, if we let things go around here, our hillside would be covered by a variety of oaks, bay trees, and Toyon. And there are at least a dozen seedlings of different sizes. There's one right there. A couple more sticking up in the creeping snowberry. There's more of them. They definitely are happy here.